Imagine an old man, his body frail and bent, sitting alone on a cold, cobblestone street. His once strong hands, now thin and bony, cradle a guitar that seems almost too heavy for his weakened frame. The man is a study in sorrow and exhaustion. His skin is pale, almost ghostly, with a bluish tint that speaks of hunger, cold, and despair. His head droops forward, as if the weight of the world has finally become too much for him to bear. His eyes are closed, hiding the sadness that must fill them. The deep lines etched into his face tell the story of a hard life, full of struggle and loss. His hair, thin and gray, clings to his scalp like a last remnant of vitality. His clothes are tattered and worn, hanging loosely on his emaciated body, offering little protection against the chill that surrounds him. The old man's body is hunched, curled inward as if trying to protect himself from the harshness of the world. His shoulders are rounded, his chest caved in, and his arms are gaunt and elongated, giving him an almost skeletal appearance. The skin on his hands is stretched tight over his knuckles, and his fingers are long and spindly, yet they cling to the guitar with a kind of desperate tenderness. The guitar itself is a striking contrast to the man's frailness. It is large, almost too large for him, and its rich brown color is one of the few warm tones in the scene. The guitar is his last connection to life, to beauty, and to a time when he might have known joy. Though his body is failing, his fingers still move with a certain grace over the strings, playing a melody that seems to hang in the cold air, full of melancholy and longing. The world around him is muted, bathed in shades of blue and gray that amplify the sense of isolation and sadness. The background is almost indistinguishable, an abstract blur of shapes and shadows that suggest a city that has forgotten him, a world that has moved on without him. There is no light, no warmth, only the cold blue that envelopes everything, as if the very air is thick with sorrow. The old man seems to be fading into this blue world, becoming a part of the cold and the gloom. His body, thin and frail, almost blends into the background, as if he is slowly dissolving into nothingness. Yet, there is something about the way he holds the guitar, something in the way his fingers still move over the strings, that suggests he has not completely given up. There is a quiet dignity in his posture, a stubborn refusal to let go of the last thing that gives his life meaning. The music he plays is soft, almost inaudible, but if you listen closely, you can hear the echoes of a life lived with passion and pain. Each note is a whisper of lost love, of dreams that never came true, of a time when he was young and strong and the world was full of possibilities. The melody is hauntingly beautiful, filled with a deep, aching sadness that seems to resonate with the very soul. The old guitarist is a figure of profound empathy, someone who has been worn down by life, but who still clings to the last vestiges of his humanity. He is a reminder of the fragility of life, of the way time can strip away everything but the barest essentials. Yet, even in his broken state, there is something timeless and universal about him, something that speaks to the shared human experience of suffering and the enduring power of art to provide solace, even in the darkest of times. In your mind's eye, you can feel the cold, see the blue that surrounds him, and hear the faint, mournful strumming of his guitar. The old man's sorrow is palpable, but so too is his resilience. He is a figure of tragedy, but also of quiet strength, a man who has lost everything but still finds a way to create beauty in the midst of his despair.